Major Isabella Santos, military intelligence, 12 years active duty, 3 deployments Middle East, specialist in counterintelligence operations. That Tuesday morning at 0630 hours in the SCIF at Joint Base Andrews, Maryland, I stared at the classified report that would destroy everything I believed about family loyalty. 5 American soldiers KIA in Afghanistan because someone had leaked patrol routes to Taliban insurgents. The blood on those pages wasn't just ink. It was the lives of brothers and sisters in arms who trusted our operational security. Grid coordinates 34 degrees 31 minutes north, 69 degrees 10 minutes east, forward operating base Chapman, where Sergeant First Class Martinez, Staff Sergeant Johnson, Corporal Williams, Private First Class Thompson, and Private Davis died in an IED ambush that should never have happened. What I discovered next about who was selling our people's lives for money would test every value our grandfather instilled in me about military honor and family blood. My hands trembled as I cross-referenced the leaked intelligence patterns with personnel access logs. 23 separate incidents over 8 months, each one resulting in American casualties overseas. Someone with top-secret SCI clearance was systematically feeding operational data to hostile forces, and the patterns showed intimate knowledge of special operations protocols. The timestamps matched perfectly with communication intercepts our NSA partners had flagged as suspicious. Roger that, I thought. This isn't some random security breach. This is someone on the inside. Someone who knows exactly when and how to maximize damage to our forces. My combat instincts kicked in as I realized we were hunting a traitor who had American blood on their hands, and they were still active, still killing our people with each piece of classified information they sold. The investigation parameters were crystal clear. Identify and neutralize the intelligence leak that had compromised Operation Enduring Guardian across 3 combat zones. As the lead counterintelligence officer, I had unrestricted access to all communication logs, personnel files, and operational databases. My security clearance opened every classified door in the Pentagon, and my reputation for tactical precision meant commanders trusted me with their most sensitive cases. But nothing in my 15 years of military service had prepared me for what the data analysis would reveal. The digital forensics painted a picture that made my stomach drop like a failed parachute. Someone I trusted implicitly was murdering American soldiers for profit, and they had been doing it right under my nose while I focused on foreign threats. At 1400 hours, I initiated Phase 1 of the investigation. Comprehensive personnel screening of all individuals with access to the compromised intelligence. The list contained 847 names across multiple agencies and military branches. But pattern analysis narrowed it to 23 high-probability suspects. Each had top-secret SCI clearance, deployment history in affected regions, and access windows that aligned with leak timelines. My tactical mind processed variables like a targeting computer: means, motive, opportunity, operational knowledge, and risk tolerance. The psychological profile suggested someone under severe financial pressure, someone who rationalized betraying their oath for personal gain. What I didn't expect was for the investigation to lead me straight into the heart of my own family, where honor and blood were about to collide in ways that would destroy everything I held sacred. My suspect list showed Captain Carmen Santos at position number 7. My twin sister, my battle buddy since birth, the woman who served beside me in Iraq during our first deployment together in 2019. We'd enlisted on the same day, graduated from West Point in the same class, and taken our officers' oaths with identical words about supporting and defending the Constitution. Seeing her name in that classified database felt like taking shrapnel to the chest. Unexpected, devastating, and potentially fatal to everything I believed about loyalty and family bonds. But intelligence work demands objectivity over emotion, and the data didn't lie. Carmen had perfect access, financial motives I hadn't known about, and communication patterns that matched the leak timeline with 97.3% correlation. My hands shook as I realized I was about to investigate my own flesh and blood for treason. The financial records told a story that broke my heart while confirming my worst suspicions. Carmen's 5-year-old daughter, Sofia, had been diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia 18 months ago, and the experimental treatment at Johns Hopkins was costing $47,000 per month. Military insurance covered standard treatments, but this cutting-edge immunotherapy was classified as experimental and therefore not covered under TRICARE. Bank statements showed Carmen had liquidated her entire savings, maxed out 7 credit cards, and taken loans against her military pension. The math was brutal. She needed $564,000 for a full year of treatment, and her military salary barely covered half that amount. In the desperate arithmetic of a mother watching her child die, selling classified information for $50,000 per intelligence package must have seemed like the only equation that saved Sofia's life. At 0545 hours the next morning, I conducted covert surveillance on Carmen's off-base housing unit in Alexandria, Virginia. Through night vision optics, I watched my sister leave her apartment with a manila envelope, drive to a 24-hour diner on Route 1, and sit alone in a corner booth. The tactical part of my brain cataloged every detail. She chose a table with clear sightlines to all entrances, kept her back to the wall, and positioned herself where security cameras couldn't capture her face. These weren't the movements of someone picking up breakfast. This was operational tradecraft, the kind we'd learned together in intelligence school. When a man in a gray suit sat across from her and slid an identical envelope across the table, I felt my world collapse like a controlled demolition. My twin sister, my closest battle buddy, was actively committing treason against the United States of America, and I was watching it happen through a sniper scope. The surveillance photos confirmed what every intelligence analyst already knew. Carmen was the leak. The man in the gray suit was Dmitry Kozlov, a known SVR operative who'd been flagged by the FBI as an intelligence broker for hostile foreign powers. The envelope exchange lasted exactly 4 minutes, and I documented every second with classified recording equipment. Standard operating procedure demanded I immediately report this to my chain of command and request authorization for Carmen's arrest. But this wasn't standard anything. This was my sister. My twin, the woman who'd saved my life during the Kabul evacuation in 2021 when Taliban insurgents overran our checkpoint. The woman who'd held my hand during our mother's funeral and promised we'd always protect each other no matter what. How do you report your own blood for treason when you know that arrest means death row and your 5-year-old niece dies without the medical treatment only that blood money can provide? That evening, I sat in my CHU, containerized housing unit, at Quantico, staring at classified documents that could destroy my sister's life with a single phone call. The evidence was overwhelming. Intercepts, financial records, surveillance footage, and pattern analysis that would convince any court-martial. Carmen had violated her oath as an officer, betrayed her country, and directly caused the deaths of American soldiers serving overseas. By every military regulation I'd sworn to uphold, she deserved to face the full consequences of treason under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But every time I reached for the secure phone to report her, I saw Sofia's medical files on my desk. X-rays showing tumors in a 5-year-old's body, treatment schedules that represented her only chance at survival, bills that only treason money could provide. The moral mathematics were impossible: report my sister and watch my niece die, or become complicit in treason and betray every soldier who died because of leaked intelligence. At 8:00 hours the next morning, my commanding officer, General Patricia Hayes, called me into her office for an operational briefing. The hunt for the intelligence leak had become the Pentagon's highest priority, and she needed my preliminary assessment. Sitting across from her desk, looking at photos of the soldiers who died because of information my sister had sold, I felt like I was drowning in moral quicksand. Major Santos, your reputation for thoroughness and integrity is why you're leading this investigation. I need someone who will follow the evidence wherever it leads, regardless of personal connections or political pressures. Can I count on you to identify and prosecute this traitor with extreme prejudice? I maintained perfect military bearing while my world crumbled internally, responding with textbook precision. Yes, ma'am, the investigation will be conducted by the book and justice will be served. but I knew that justice was about to demand a price that would destroy my family forever. The tactical dilemma consumed every moment of my operational planning. Carmen had killed American soldiers, but she'd done it to save her dying daughter, the same little girl who called me Tia Bella and drew pictures of us in matching military uniforms. Military law was clear. Treason during wartime carries the death penalty, and there are no exceptions for family loyalty or medical emergencies. But human reality was more complex than legal code. My sister wasn't selling secrets for greed or ideology. She was trading American lives for her child's survival, the desperate calculus of a mother facing every parent's worst nightmare. The intelligence part of my brain understood motivation didn't excuse treason, that good intentions don't resurrect dead soldiers. But my sister part of me remembered Carmen holding Sofia in the NICU after her premature birth, whispering promises about always protecting her baby girl no matter what it cost. Thursday morning brought new complications that made the situation exponentially worse. My father, General Ricardo Santos, requested a private meeting in his Pentagon office to discuss family matters affecting operational security. At 1500 hours, I reported to the E-Ring, wondering if he somehow knew about Carmen's activities or my investigation. Dad had spent 35 years in military intelligence, rising from enlisted soldier to three-star general through pure tactical brilliance and unwavering integrity. He'd taught Carmen and me that honor was worth more than life, that military service demanded absolute loyalty to country over family. Now, sitting in his office surrounded by commendations and photos from 3 decades of distinguished service, I realized he suspected both his daughters of compromising national security. The man who'd raised us to embody military values was about to learn that one daughter was committing treason while the other was covering it up, and both betrayals would destroy him. "Isabella," Dad said, his voice carrying the weight of command authority mixed with paternal concern, "intelligence chatter suggests the leak investigation is closing in on someone with intimate knowledge of Santos family operational patterns, someone who knows how we think, how we operate, how we've been trained to approach classified information." He leaned forward, and I saw the tactical mind that had made him legendary in intelligence circles. "I've run preliminary analysis on all personnel with appropriate access and motivation. The pattern suggests someone facing extreme financial pressure, someone desperate enough to rationalize selling American lives for personal gain, someone who understands our family's military traditions well enough to exploit gaps in operational security." My heart stopped as I realized he wasn't just investigating the leak. He was investigating Carmen and me, his own daughters, because the evidence was pointing directly at the Santos family bloodline. The briefing room fell silent as Dad continued his assessment with the clinical precision that had made him one of the Army's most respected intelligence officers. "I've identified 2 high-probability suspects who match the psychological profile and operational parameters. Both have top-secret clearance, both have children requiring expensive medical treatment, both have access to the compromised intelligence packages." He slid 2 personnel files across his desk, and my blood turned to ice when I saw Carmen's photo on top. "Captain Carmen Santos and Major Isabella Santos represent the highest probability matches for our intelligence leak. I'm recommending both officers be placed under immediate surveillance and subjected to enhanced counterintelligence screening." The man who taught me to love my country was systematically building a case against his own daughters, and his military duty was about to destroy his family in the name of national security. That night, I sat in my apartment in Arlington, Virginia, processing the impossible tactical situation that had engulfed my family. Carmen was selling secrets to save Sofia's life, Dad was investigating both of us for treason, and I was caught in the middle with evidence that could destroy everyone I loved. The classified documents spread across my kitchen table told 3 different stories: Carmen's guilt, my complicity through inaction, and Dad's unwavering commitment to duty over family. Military protocol demanded I report Carmen immediately and accept whatever consequences followed. But family loyalty screamed that I couldn't condemn my sister to death row and watch my niece die without medical treatment. The tactical part of my brain understood that inaction was itself a form of treason, that every day I delayed meant more American soldiers died because of intelligence Carmen sold to enemy forces. At 0600 hours Friday morning, I made a decision that would define the rest of my military career and family relationships. Instead of reporting Carmen to my chain of command, I decided to confront her directly and attempt to negotiate a solution that could save both Sofia's life and American soldiers' lives. Military protocol was clear that this approach violated numerous regulations, but sometimes operational requirements demand tactical flexibility over standard procedures. I arranged to meet Carmen at Sofia's hospital room during her chemotherapy treatment, using our family medical emergency as cover for an operational discussion. The plan was simple: offer Carmen a way out that involved cooperation with authorities instead of arrest, hoping that her intelligence value might outweigh her treasonous actions. But I underestimated how desperate a mother becomes when watching her child die, and how far someone will go to protect the money keeping their baby alive. Johns Hopkins Pediatric Oncology Ward, room 314, became the most classified location in Maryland that Friday afternoon. Sophia lay in her hospital bed, bald from chemotherapy, but smiling as she watched cartoons on the tablet Carmen had bought with treason money. My 5-year-old niece looked so small, surrounded by medical equipment that cost more per day than most soldiers earn in a month. Carmen sat beside the bed, holding Sophia's hand and reading medical charts that detailed experimental treatments not covered by military insurance. When I entered the room, Carmen's tactical instincts kicked in immediately. She recognized surveillance posture, operational awareness, and the controlled expression that meant official business. "Diabella!" Sophia exclaimed, but Carmen's eyes were calculating threat assessment and escape routes. She knew I'd discovered her activities, and she was preparing for the confrontation that would determine whether her daughter lived or died. "Carmen," I said quietly, maintaining operational security despite the emotional chaos, "we need to discuss your recent financial activities and their impact on national security." My sister's face went pale, but she didn't deny or deflect. She'd been expecting this conversation since the moment she started selling classified information. "I know what you're thinking, Bella," she whispered, glancing at Sophia to ensure she couldn't hear. "You're thinking I'm a traitor who deserves everything that's coming. You're thinking I violated every oath we took together, betrayed every value Dad taught us about honor and duty." She was right. Those thoughts were exactly what my military training demanded. But looking at Sophia's medical charts and seeing the astronomical costs of keeping a 5-year-old alive, I understood that Carmen hadn't chosen treason for greed or ideology. She'd chosen it because watching your child die when money could save them is a hell that military honor can't protect against. Carmen's confession came out in tactical bursts, like suppressing fire covering a dangerous advance. The experimental treatment cost $47,000 per month, and military insurance won't cover it because it's investigational. I've exhausted every legal option: charity programs, medical loans, fundraising campaigns, even requesting emergency financial assistance through military family services. Sophia has maybe 6 months without this treatment, but with it, she has an 85% survival rate. Her voice broke as she continued the operational briefing on her own daughter's death sentence. "Dimitri approached me 8 months ago. He knew about Sophia's diagnosis, knew about our financial situation, knew exactly how desperate I was. $50,000 per intelligence package, enough to keep Sophia alive for another month. I told myself I was only selling information that wouldn't directly harm American personnel, but I knew that was bullshit rationalization from the first transaction." The tactical assessment of Carmen's treason revealed planning and operational security that impressed even my counterintelligence training. She'd compartmentalized information to minimize direct causality between intelligence sold and American casualties, but she hadn't accounted for the cumulative effect of multiple compromised operations. "I never gave them complete operational plans," Carmen explained, "just partial intelligence that seemed innocuous individually. Communication frequencies, supply route timings, personnel rotation schedules. I thought I was selling information that would cause mission delays, not American deaths." But intelligence work had taught me that partial information could be more dangerous than complete intelligence. Enemy analysts could combine seemingly unrelated data points to create devastating tactical advantages. Carmen's careful operational security had actually made her treason more lethal, and more American soldiers had died because she'd been smart about selling secrets instead of sloppy. Sophia stirred in her hospital bed, asking for water with the weak voice of a child whose body was fighting both cancer and chemotherapy. Carmen immediately shifted into mother mode, adjusting IV lines and checking medication schedules with the precision she had once applied to classified operations. Watching my sister care for her dying daughter while knowing she'd killed American soldiers to pay for that care created cognitive dissonance that threatened my tactical thinking. Military justice demanded Carmen face consequences for treason, but human reality demanded that Sofia receive medical treatment that only blood money could provide. "Carmen," she whispered, "I know what you have to do. I know you have to report me, and I know what that means for Sofia. But before you make that call, I need you to promise me something. Promise me you'll make sure Sofia gets adopted by a family who can afford her medical treatment. Don't let her die in foster care because her mother chose treason over watching her suffer." Carmen broke military bearing and started crying, not because she was facing death row, but because she was failing Sofia. "Dad, I know what I've done is unforgivable, but Sofia only has months to live without the experimental treatment. Military insurance won't cover it, and I've exhausted every legal option for funding. I sold those secrets because watching your 5-year-old daughter die when money could save her is a hell that military honor can't protect against." Her confession confirmed Dad's intelligence assessment, but it also revealed the impossible choice that had driven her to treason. "I never meant for American soldiers to die. I thought I was only selling operational details that would cause mission delays, not casualties. But I know that ignorance doesn't excuse treason, and I know what the punishment has to be." Dad's expression showed the internal battle between military duty and paternal love, between justice for dead soldiers and mercy for a desperate mother trying to save her child. The moment of tactical decision arrived when Dad reached for the secure phone that would initiate Carmen's arrest and court-martial proceedings. Military protocol demanded immediate action against confirmed traitors, and his reputation for unwavering integrity meant he couldn't show family favoritism in matters of national security. But before he could dial, I made the decision that would define my military career and family relationships forever. "Sir," I said, using formal military address to maintain operational protocol, "I request permission to propose an alternative operational solution that serves both justice and national security interests." Dad paused, his hand on the phone, and I saw the general evaluating tactical options while the father hoped for a solution that could save everyone. "Major Santos, you have 60 seconds to present your alternative before I execute standard protocols for handling confirmed traitors. The next minute would determine whether my family survived this betrayal or destroyed itself in the pursuit of military justice." My operational proposal was tactically sound and legally viable, designed to maximize intelligence value while ensuring justice for Carmen's treason. "Sir, Captain Santos possesses detailed knowledge of enemy intelligence networks, operational procedures, and foreign agent identities that could save American lives if properly exploited. Rather than immediate arrest and court-martial, I recommend controlled cooperation with counterintelligence operations to identify and neutralize the entire spy network she's been feeding." Dad's tactical mind immediately recognized the strategic value of the proposal. Turning a traitor into an intelligence asset could prevent future American casualties while ensuring justice for Carmen's treason. "Additionally," I continued, "emergency medical custody of Sofia Santos could be transferred to qualified family members, ensuring her continued treatment while removing her as leverage over Carmen's cooperation." The plan offered something military justice rarely provided: the possibility of redemption through service, allowing Carmen to help save American lives instead of just facing execution for the ones she'd cost. Dad leaned back in his chair, processing the operational implications of treating his daughter as an intelligence asset instead of just a traitor. Major Santos, your proposal has tactical merit, but it assumes Captain Santos will cooperate fully with counterintelligence operations against people who currently control her daughter's medical funding. Are you confident she'll prioritize American lives over her child's survival? The question cut to the heart of the moral dilemma that had created the situation. Carmen looked at both of us, understanding that cooperation meant ending Sofia's treatment funding while potentially exposing her to retaliation from enemy agents. "I'll do it," she said quietly. "If you promise me Sofia will be taken care of medically and personally. I can't undo the damage I've caused, but maybe I can prevent more American soldiers from dying because of intelligence I helped compromise. Just don't let my baby girl pay the price for my treason." The Santos family was about to transform from a source of military shame into an operational asset serving American national security. But the personal cost would change all of us forever. At 1200 hours that Saturday, Dad initiated the most classified family operation in Santos bloodline history. Operation Family Honor became the codename for turning his daughter from traitor to intelligence asset, a mission that required absolute operational security and flawless execution. The plan involved Carmen continuing her intelligence drops while wearing FBI recording equipment, documenting every aspect of the enemy spy network for counterintelligence purposes. Meanwhile, I would coordinate with military family services to secure emergency medical custody of Sofia Santos, ensuring her treatment continued while removing her as leverage over Carmen's cooperation. Dad's tactical expertise meant he understood this operation could either redeem our family's honor or destroy us all if Carmen's handlers suspected the double cross. The next 72 hours would determine whether the Santos family served justice or became casualties of their own desperate choices. The FBI counterintelligence team briefed us at 1500 hours in a secure facility at Quantico, outlining operational parameters for Carmen's controlled cooperation. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh explained the technical surveillance equipment Carmen would wear during future meetings with Dmitry Kozlov, including audio-video recording devices hidden in military-issued jewelry and clothing. "Captain Santos," Agent Walsh said, "your cooperation could potentially save dozens of American lives by exposing the entire intelligence network that's been killing our soldiers overseas. But if your handlers suspect you're working with us, they'll eliminate you as a security risk and probably target your daughter as well." Carmen's face went pale as she realized cooperation meant signing Sofia's death warrant if the operation failed. The tactical reality was brutal. Success meant prison but Sofia's survival, while failure meant death for both mother and child. Carmen's first controlled intelligence drop occurred Monday morning at 0800 hours in the same Route 1 diner where I'd originally observed her treasonous activities. This time, she carried recording equipment and a packet of carefully prepared disinformation designed to test the enemy network's capabilities. The FBI surveillance team positioned assets throughout the location, while I monitored from a van parked across the street, watching my sister risk her life to redeem the honor she'd betrayed. Dmitry Kozlov arrived precisely on schedule, but something in his demeanor suggested heightened suspicion about Carmen's recent activities. Through electronic surveillance, we heard him questioning Carmen about inconsistencies in her recent intelligence deliveries and concerns from Moscow about her reliability as an asset. The conversation lasted only 3 minutes before Dmitry left without completing the exchange, indicating the enemy network suspected compromise. That evening, Carmen received a phone call that changed everything about our operational timeline. Dmitry's voice came through crystal clear on the FBI wiretap equipment. "Carmen, our mutual friends, have concerns about your recent performance. They believe you may have developed conflicting loyalties that compromise your usefulness to our organization." The threat was coded but clear. They suspected her cooperation with American authorities and were preparing to eliminate her as a security risk. "You have 48 hours to prove your continued loyalty by delivering something that demonstrates absolute commitment to our arrangement. Failure to satisfy our concerns will result in termination of our business relationship and collection of outstanding debts. Carmen knew exactly what collection of outstanding debts meant in intelligence terminology. They would kill Sofia to prevent her from becoming evidence of their financial leverage over a compromised asset. The FBI counterintelligence team called an emergency briefing at 2200 hours to address the accelerated threat timeline. Captain Santos, Special Agent Walsh explained, the enemy network is moving to eliminate you as a security risk, which means we need to execute the takedown operation immediately instead of gathering additional intelligence over several weeks. The tactical situation had deteriorated rapidly. Instead of months to build a comprehensive case against the spy network, we had 48 hours to identify and arrest all hostile agents before they eliminated Carmen and Sofia. Dad's military planning experience proved crucial as he coordinated with FBI tactical teams to design simultaneous raids on all known enemy safe houses and communication points. Ladies, he said, looking at Carmen and me with command authority, this is no longer an intelligence gathering operation. This is a direct action mission to neutralize enemy combatants on American soil, and we're running out of time to save both national security and family lives. Carmen's final intelligence drop became a tactical deception operation designed to expose the entire enemy network while protecting her from retaliation. At 1400 hours Tuesday, she met Dmitry at a new location, Union Station in Washington, D.C., carrying classified documents that appeared genuine but contained sophisticated disinformation prepared by the Defense Intelligence Agency. The plan required Carmen to act completely natural while wearing recording equipment and GPS tracking devices that would lead FBI teams to enemy safe houses and communication centers. Through tactical surveillance, I watched my sister walk into what could be her execution while maintaining the operational composure Dad had taught us since childhood. Dmitry accepted the intelligence package, but instead of the usual quick exchange, he indicated Carmen should follow him to meet the people who make our financial arrangements possible. This deviation from standard operating procedure meant the enemy was either promoting Carmen within their network or preparing to eliminate her in a secure location. The enemy safe house was located in Arlington, Virginia, just 15 minutes from the Pentagon, a location that provided both operational security and symbolic mockery of American intelligence capabilities. FBI tactical teams surrounded the building while Carmen and Dmitry entered through the front entrance, her recording equipment transmitting real-time intelligence about enemy personnel and operational capabilities. Inside, she met 3 additional foreign intelligence operatives and one individual who made my blood run cold, Colonel James Mitchell, a decorated Army officer with top-secret clearance who had apparently been selling intelligence for years. "Carmen," Colonel Mitchell said, "Dmitry tells me you've been asking questions about payment schedules and making unusual requests about operational security. Our Moscow friends are concerned that you might be developing loyalties that conflict with our business arrangements." The conversation was being recorded as evidence for military court-martial proceedings, but Carmen was surrounded by 4 enemy agents who suspected her cooperation with American authorities. The tactical situation deteriorated rapidly when Colonel Mitchell produced a photograph of Sofia in her hospital bed, taken just hours earlier by enemy surveillance teams. "Such a beautiful little girl," he said with calculated menace, "and so dependent on expensive medical treatments that only our financial arrangements can provide. It would be tragic if something happened to interrupt her therapy sessions." Carmen's tactical training kicked in as she realized the enemy had positioned assets near Sofia's hospital room, ready to eliminate a 5-year-old child to maintain operational security. Through her recording equipment, FBI teams heard the direct threat against Sofia and began coordinating with hospital security to establish protective details around the pediatric oncology ward. But Carmen was trapped in a room with 4 enemy agents who had just threatened to murder her daughter, and any indication that she was cooperating with American authorities would result in immediate execution for both mother and child. Carmen's response to the threat against Sofia demonstrated the tactical brilliance Dad had instilled in both his daughters throughout our military careers. Instead of showing fear or desperation, she shifted into operational mode and began gathering intelligence about enemy capabilities while maintaining her cover as a compromised asset. Colonel Mitchell, she said, I understand your concerns about my reliability, but threatening my daughter only proves that you don't understand my motivation for this arrangement. I'm not selling secrets for ideology or politics. I'm doing it to keep Sofia alive, which means I'll do whatever necessary to maintain our business relationship. Her words were being recorded as evidence, but they also convinced the enemy agents that her loyalty belonged to Sofia's survival, rather than American national security. Mitchell relaxed slightly, apparently satisfied that financial leverage over a desperate mother remained intact. The intelligence breakthrough came when Colonel Mitchell revealed the full scope of the enemy intelligence network operating within the American military establishment. Carmen, you're just one of 17 active assets we maintain within the Pentagon, CIA, and NSA, he explained while FBI recording equipment captured every word for counterintelligence analysis. Your contributions have been valuable, but they represent only a small fraction of the classified information we acquire from compromised American personnel. He proceeded to detail operational procedures for other intelligence leaks, communication protocols for coordinating with Moscow, and financial arrangements for paying American traders. Carmen maintained perfect operational composure while gathering the most significant counterintelligence breakthrough in decades, information that would expose and eliminate an entire spy network that had been killing American soldiers for years. But she was also learning that Sofia's medical treatment had been funded by the blood money from dozens of American military deaths across multiple intelligence leaks. At 16:47 hours, FBI tactical teams initiated simultaneous raids on 12 locations across the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, coordinating with Carmen's intelligence gathering to arrest the entire enemy spy network. The timing was crucial. They needed to capture all enemy agents before any could escape or eliminate evidence of their activities. Carmen's role was to maintain her cover inside the Arlington safe house while federal agents prepared to breach the building and arrest everyone inside. Through tactical communication systems, I monitored the operation from FBI Command Center, watching real-time feeds as SWAT teams surrounded enemy positions throughout the region. The next few minutes would determine whether we saved both national security and Sofia's life, or whether Carmen's cooperation had signed death warrants for everyone I loved. Dad coordinated with military intelligence to identify and arrest compromised personnel within the Pentagon, while FBI teams focused on foreign operatives and their communication networks. The tactical breach of the Arlington safe house occurred with military precision that would have made Dad proud of his daughter's operational training. FBI, everyone on the ground now, Special Agent Walsh announced, as tactical teams flooded through multiple entry points simultaneously. Carmen immediately identified herself as a cooperating federal asset, while Colonel Mitchell and the foreign operatives attempted to destroy evidence and escape through prepared extraction routes. Dmitry Kozlov drew a weapon and attempted to eliminate Carmen as a security risk, but FBI snipers had anticipated that tactical response and neutralized the threat before he could fire. The entire operation lasted less than 4 minutes, resulting in the arrest of 4 enemy agents and the recovery of classified documents that would expose intelligence leaks throughout the American military establishment. Carmen's cooperation had successfully dismantled a spy network that had been killing American soldiers for years, but the personal cost would define the rest of our family's military service. Sofia's medical situation became critical during the intelligence operation, adding life-or-death urgency to an already complex tactical scenario. While FBI teams were arresting enemy agents, military doctors at Walter Reed Medical Center informed me that Sofia's condition had deteriorated, and she needed immediate continuation of the experimental treatment that Carmen's treason money had been funding. The ethical dilemma was devastating. Sofia would die without treatment that cost $47,000 per month, but that treatment had been purchased with blood money from American soldiers killed by intelligence Carmen had sold to enemy forces. Military Family Services confirmed that emergency medical custody could be transferred to me as Sofia's aunt, but my military salary couldn't sustain the experimental therapy costs that represented her only chance of survival. The tactical solution required navigating military bureaucracy, medical insurance regulations, and federal witness protection protocols, while a 5-year-old child fought for her life in intensive care. The breakthrough came when FBI Special Agent Walsh revealed that federal witness protection programs included provisions for medical expenses related to cooperating witnesses and their dependents. Major Santos, she explained. Captain Santos's cooperation has exposed the largest intelligence leak in American military history, potentially saving hundreds of American lives. Federal guidelines allow for comprehensive medical support for witnesses and their families when their cooperation prevents ongoing threats to national security. The paperwork required congressional approval and Justice Department authorization, but Sofia's experimental treatment could be federally funded as part of Carmen's witness protection agreement. For the first time in months, I saw hope that Sofia might survive without requiring blood money from American military deaths. The irony was profound. Carmen's treason had funded Sofia's treatment, but Carmen's cooperation with American authorities would continue that funding through legitimate federal programs. Carmen's arraignment at military court-martial proceedings revealed the complex intersection of justice, mercy, and national security that defined her case. Judge Advocate General Colonel Sarah Martinez presided over preliminary hearings where Carmen faced charges of treason, espionage, and conspiracy against the United States under Articles 106 and 134 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Captain Santos, Colonel Martinez stated, your cooperation with federal authorities has prevented significant additional threats to American military personnel, and your intelligence value continues to serve national security interests. However, your actions directly resulted in the deaths of American soldiers, and military justice requires accountability for those casualties. The recommended sentence balanced Carmen's cooperation against her treason, life imprisonment instead of execution, with eligibility for parole after 25 years if she continued providing intelligence cooperation. Sofia would be placed in my custody with federal medical support, ensuring her survival while her mother served time for the crimes that had saved her life. The final confrontation with Dad occurred in his Pentagon office after Carmen's sentencing, where 3 generations of Santos family military service faced the consequences of choosing family over duty. Isabella, Dad said, your decision to cover for Carmen's treason violated your oath as an officer, but your operational solution saved both American lives and family honor. You chose a tactical approach that served multiple objectives instead of simple military justice. His voice carried the weight of a career spent protecting American soldiers from intelligence failures, but also the pain of a father who'd nearly lost both daughters to impossible choices. Carmen's cooperation has exposed and eliminated intelligence leaks that were killing American soldiers monthly. Your planning enabled that cooperation while ensuring Sofia's survival and Carmen's redemption through service. Military regulations require me to recommend disciplinary action for your failure to immediately report known treason, but I'm also recommending commendation for tactical excellence in handling a complex counterintelligence operation. The Santos family had survived the betrayal, but none of us would ever be the same. The tactical aftermath of Operation Family Honor demonstrated that sometimes military justice serves larger objectives than simple punishment for misconduct. Carmen's intelligence cooperation led to the arrest of 17 compromised American military personnel, the identification of 43 additional security risks, and the disruption of intelligence networks that had caused over 200 American military casualties during the previous 2 years. Her life sentence would be served at a federal facility where she could continue providing counterintelligence cooperation while serving time for her treason. Sofia's experimental treatment continued under federal witness protection medical provisions, with a 97% probability of full recovery according to her oncology team at Walter Reed Medical Center. The blood money that had funded her initial treatment was replaced by federal programs that recognized her mother's intelligence value to ongoing national security operations. Military justice had been served, but mercy had also found a way to save an innocent child's life. 6 months after Carmen's sentencing, I received promotion to lieutenant colonel and assignment as chief counterintelligence officer for the Defense Intelligence Agency, a position that utilized my experience handling complex family loyalty situations within military security environments. Sofia's cancer had responded successfully to continued experimental treatment, with her oncology team expressing confidence about long-term survival prospects. Carmen's continued cooperation from federal prison had exposed additional intelligence leaks and prevented estimated casualties of 150 American military personnel who would have died from compromised operational security. Dad's recommendation for my disciplinary action was ultimately dismissed in favor of commendation for tactical excellence in resolving a counterintelligence crisis. The Santos family had paid a severe price for choosing family over duty, but we had also demonstrated that sometimes tactical flexibility serves military values better than rigid adherence to regulations. Military honor had been preserved through redemption rather than destruction, proving that even the worst betrayals could sometimes serve the greater good of protecting American lives. 2 years after Operation Family Honor, I stand in Sofia's hospital room at Walter Reed Medical Center, watching my 6-year-old niece color pictures of soldiers in military uniforms, while her oncology team celebrates 18 months of cancer-free test results. The experimental treatment funded by federal witness protection programs has given Sofia the childhood that Carmen's treason money initially purchased with American blood. She calls me Tia Bella and draws pictures of her mom in prison uniform, asking when Mama Carmen will come home from her important military mission. I tell her that Mama is serving her country in a different way now, protecting American soldiers by helping catch bad people who want to hurt them. It's the truth, simplified for a 6-year-old who doesn't need to know that her life was saved by her mother's betrayal of military honor and subsequent redemption through intelligence cooperation. Carmen's letters from federal prison arrive monthly, written on approved stationery and screened by security personnel before reaching Sofia and me. Her intelligence cooperation continues to serve national security interests, with counterintelligence teams consulting her expertise to identify and prevent additional security breaches within military establishments. Bella, she wrote in her most recent letter, I know I can never undo the deaths my actions caused, but every piece of intelligence I provide to stop future leaks means American soldiers go home alive to their families. Prison is the price I pay for saving Sofia. But helping save other people's children is how I serve the military values Dad taught us. Her handwriting shows the discipline and precision that military training instilled, even in federal confinement. Carmen had found a way to serve honor even while serving time for dishonoring her oath, proving that redemption was possible even after the ultimate military betrayal. Dad visits Sofia every Sunday afternoon, bringing military children's books and teaching her about honor, courage, and commitment through age-appropriate stories about soldiers protecting America. He never mentions why her mother is away or the circumstances that led to our family's crisis, but he ensures Sofia understands that military service means protecting people who can't protect themselves. Abuelo Ricardo tells me the best soldier stories, and he says Mama is protecting soldiers even though she can't come home yet. Dad's tactical approach to Sofia's emotional needs demonstrates the same strategic thinking that saved our family during the intelligence crisis. He's building her understanding of military values without burdening her with knowledge of the betrayals that nearly destroyed us all. My promotion to lieutenant colonel came with assignment to the Pentagon's most sensitive counterintelligence operations, where my experience handling complex loyalty conflicts within military families provided unique expertise for similar cases. The Defense Intelligence Agency recognized that family betrayals represent one of the most challenging aspects of military security, requiring tactical approaches that balance justice with operational effectiveness. My case study of Operation Family Honor became required reading at the Army War College, demonstrating how personal crises can be resolved through creative application of military regulations rather than simple adherence to standard protocols. Young officers learn from our family's experience that military honor sometimes requires tactical flexibility rather than rigid interpretation of legal codes. The intelligence value of Carmen's continued cooperation cannot be overstated in terms of American life saved through prevented security breaches. Counterintelligence teams credit her information with exposing 12 additional compromised military personnel, preventing an estimated 300 American casualties that would have resulted from continued intelligence leaks. Her psychological profile of enemy recruitment techniques has improved security screening procedures throughout the military establishment, making it harder for foreign intelligence services to identify and exploit desperate American personnel. Carmen's intelligence has been worth more than a full battalion in terms of lives preserved, FBI Special Agent Walsh told me during a recent operational briefing. The irony remains profound. Carmen's treason cost American lives, but her cooperation has saved far more American lives than her betrayal destroyed. Sofia's medical recovery represents the positive outcome that justified every tactical decision we made during the family crisis that nearly destroyed us. Her oncology team at Walter Reed confirms that the experimental treatment has eliminated all traces of leukemia, with probability of recurrence dropping to less than 3% over the next 5 years. The federal medical coverage that replaced Carmen's blood money has provided better care than we could have afforded through any legal means, proving that sometimes serving justice creates better outcomes than simple pursuit of personal gain. Sofia asks about her mother daily, but she's surrounded by family love and military community support that ensures her emotional stability despite Carmen's absence. She's growing up understanding that her mother made mistakes, but is working hard to fix them by helping protect other families. The moral complexity of our family's choices continues to challenge my understanding of military honor and personal loyalty in ways that no training had prepared me for. Carmen's treason was morally inexcusable, but her motivation was emotionally understandable. My failure to immediately report her activities violated my oath as an officer, but my tactical solution saved both American lives and family members. Dad's investigation of his own daughters demonstrated unwavering commitment to military duty, but his support for our operational solution showed that duty includes finding creative approaches to impossible situations. Military regulations provide frameworks for decision-making, but human reality often requires interpretation that serves larger values than simple rule-following. Honor sometimes means choosing the harder path that serves multiple objectives rather than the simpler path that serves only regulation compliance. The broader implications of Operation Family Honor extend beyond our family to military personnel facing similar conflicts between duty and personal crises throughout the armed forces. Military family counseling programs now include specific protocols for handling situations where financial desperation might compromise security clearances, providing resources before military personnel resort to treason to solve personal problems. Carmen's case demonstrated that early intervention and support systems can prevent security breaches more effectively than punishment after betrayals occur. The military establishment learned that protecting families serves national security interests more effectively than simply prosecuting them after they compromise operational security. Prevention through support proves more tactically sound than prosecution through punishment. My relationship with Dad has evolved from simple father-daughter bonds to professional respect between military officers who survived an impossible situation through tactical collaboration. He often tells younger officers that military leadership means finding solutions that serve multiple objectives simultaneously, using our family's experience as an example of creative problem-solving under extreme pressure. Isabella and Carmen taught me that military honor includes protecting family while serving country, he explained during a recent staff meeting at the Pentagon. Their tactical approach to an impossible situation demonstrated that military values can be preserved through redemption as effectively as through punishment. Our family crisis became a teaching tool for military leaders facing similar conflicts between personal loyalty and professional duty.